Hello everybody. I'd like to talk to you today about the damage caused to children who are constantly moved around the care system from one foster home to another. And I was one of those kids, and although it was a long time ago, it still impacts my life today. And I firmly believe that there should be more um, legal layers that have to be accessed before we just move children. So many children are moved because people don't know what to do. And my last foster mum said to me, if you got mice in the kitchen, putting mice in the living room does not resolve your mouse problem. So keep moving people, keep moving children to other homes. Doesn't resolve the problem. We're shifting the situation around and we're destroying children's lives. It destroys their sense of identity, any sense of belonging. One of the things it did for me, and I'm going to be very honest about this, is it meant that every time I felt uncomfortable, I would pack my bags and move. And in the end, when I became an adult, it meant that I continually kept moving my children, which has caused them a significant amount of trauma. And I look back and I think, when you feel uncomfortable, all you do is move, then you are wired that way. Because whenever somebody didn't know what to do with me, or someone made a decision that we needed to go back home with or without siblings, and then it all fell apart and you come back into care again, you don't know if you're coming or going, you've already been. I cannot emphasize enough the damage caused to children by continually moving them. So I wanted to think about how I could bring all of this together in a way that made sense. So I wrote this. Still waiting for morning. They don't tell you what it feels like to be taken, even where you came from wasn't safe. Because unsafe can still be familiar. Unsafe can still be home. One day you're there, next day you're somewhere else. Different walls, different smells, different adults, learning your name like it's temporary. You wake up early, not because you want to, because your body never learned how to sleep, particularly when you live with domestic abuse. You lie still, listening. Who's downstairs? What mood lives in this house? What rules exist that no one explained? What version of me do they want today? Your body braces for shouting, for doors slamming, for swearing, sharp enough to cut. But nothing happens. And that silence is terrifying. When chaos is the only language you know. I'm going to say that again. That silence is terrifying when chaos is the only language you know. So you become careful. You become good. You become invisible. You smile too much. You say thank you too often. You carry your fear quietly because you already know what happens to children who are too much. You hold it all in. Every feeling, every question, every need. Because staying feels conditional. But no child can stay perfect forever. They call it the honeymoon period. How dare they condense this experience into 2 words that is meant to somehow give people some sort of understanding of what's actually happening here. If only. Eventually the cracks show. The fear spills out sideways. In my case, in anger, in tears that don't make sense, in behaviour that adults call challenging, but it's really just memory with nowhere else to go. Here's the truth. When safety arrives, trauma finally feels brave enough to speak. And it doesn't whisper. Behaviour isn't rebellion, it's communication. It's a child saying, this is what I survived, this is what I didn't get, and this is how scared I still am. But when adults aren't ready to hear that, they haven't been prepared for it. They haven't had the right training. They don't have the right insight. Then the story repeats. The child becomes the problem. The behaviour becomes the focus. The history disappears. And once again, the child is moved. Again and again and again. Each move erases something, a sense of self, a fragile hope, a belief that adults can be trusted. Identity stops growing and starts fragmenting. Love becomes temporary. Care becomes conditional. Belonging becomes something you audition for instead of something you're given. Belonging becomes something you audition for instead of something you're given. The child learns this lesson early. If I am myself, I will be left or hurt or made to leave. That belief follows them into adulthood, into friendships, into love, into every goodbye that feels like proof. And still the behaviour speaks, because for some children it is their only voice, and it is the only voice they were ever allowed. This is not a story about bad children. It is a story about pain that wasn't held, about fear that was misunderstood, about systems that move children's bodies without protecting their hearts. And this has to change. This has to change. I'm not getting any younger, but I want to see this change. And I want to be part of that change. Because children don't need more moving. They need more staying, more understanding, more adults who know that healing is loud, that safety takes time, that behaviour is not the enemy. It's the message. And every child deserves to wake up in the morning knowing who is downstairs, knowing they are safe, and knowing they are not temporary. Let us think outside of the box. Give foster parents more PR. Stop moving children because of egos, because someone wants to be proven right, because we are the corporate parent, therefore we are right. No. How about the child? How about the child? You know, sometimes people say they were okay till they came to live with you. They weren't okay. They were white knuckling it, holding it all in because it was too scary to let it out. And now it is emerging because a child feels safe enough to show us three fundamental things. Number one, what they've not had. Two, how they feel. And three, what they've been through. Because you know what? If you weren't traumatised before you came into care, you will be by the time you leave it if they keep moving you. At Safer Fostering Wales, we keep children in families. True Fostering England, we keep children in families. That's why we have at least 98% stability, because our children move. Our children stay. They don't keep moving because we do know what to do. Thank you for listening.